It's a pleasure to have you join me on this virtual journey. Welcome. Hello, fellow enthusiasts. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of Bayajidda. Bayajidda Hausa with tone markings. Bayajidda's real name, Yazid, was, according to the legends surrounding most West African states before the 19th century, the founder of the Hausa states. Most accounts say that Bayajidda came from Baghdad. Bayajidda came first to Borno, where he was given one of the Mace daughters as a wife, and then later lived for a while in Hausa land, where he married the Queen of Daura, who also gave him a Gwari mistress as a reward for slaying Sarki, said to be a great snake which deprived her people of access to water. By the Queen of Daura, Bayajidda had a son called Bawo, another called Biram by the Borno Princess, and yet another son, Karbagari, by his Gwari paramour. Bawo is said to have succeeded his father and had 6 sons who became the rulers of Daura, Katsina, Zazzau, Gobir, Kano and Rano. These, together with Biram, which was ruled by the son of Bayajidda and of the Borno Princess, formed the Hausa Bakwai, or the Hausa 7. However, Karbagari, the son of the Gwari mistress, had 7 sons, 2 who ruled Kebbi, Zamfara, Gwari, Jukun, Ilorin, Nupe and Yauri, which are referred to in this tradition as the Banza Bakwai or Vein 7. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on the hero's departure from Baghdad and his stay in Borno. According to the legend, Bayajidda was a prince from Baghdad, the capital of modern-day Iraq, and son of King Abdullahi, but he was exiled from his hometown after Queen Ziddam, also known as Zigawa, had conquered the city. Once he left Baghdad, he travelled across Africa with numerous warriors and arrived in Borno. Once in Borno, tales differ as to what caused tension with the local king. According to one story, Bayajidda realized his forces were stronger than those of the king. Because of this, he planned to overthrow him. However, the king heard of the plot and, after consulting with his advisors, gave Bayajidda his daughter, Magaram, also known as Majura, in marriage. Later, when the king attacked and took over several towns, he tricked his new son-in-law into leaving his own men to guard the towns, thereby decreasing the number of men Bayajidda had at his disposal. Bayajidda realized that he was being tricked when he had only his wife and 1 slave left. During the night, they fled to Garandubas, now situated in the Hadija region. While there, Magaram gave birth to Bayajidda's first child, Biram, the eponymous ancestor of the petty kingdom of Gobir's Biram east of Biram. However, according to another version of the story, Bayajidda was welcomed into Borno, married Magaram, and became popular among the people. Because of this, the king envied him and plotted against him. Upon being informed of this by his wife, he fled Borno with her. In the upcoming portion, we'll be dissecting arrival in Daura and slaying of the serpent to gain a comprehensive understanding of its implications. Bayajidda left his wife and child in Garandubas and continued on to the village of Bàyā near Kano, which others believe to be Bàyā in modern Niger, where he had the local blacksmiths make him a knife. He then came to the town of Daura, located in modern-day Katsina state, where he entered a house and asked an old woman for water. She informed him that a serpent named Sarki is the Hausa word for king guarded the well, and that the people were only allowed to draw water once a week. Bayajidda set out for the well and killed the serpent with the sword and beheaded it with the knife the blacksmiths had made for him, after which he drank the water, put the head in a bag, and returned to the old woman's house. The Kusig well where this is said to have happened is nowadays a tourist attraction. The next day, the people of Daura gathered at the well, wondering who had killed the snake. Bayajidda, the local queen, offered sovereignty over half the town to whoever could prove that he killed the snake. Several men brought snake heads forth, but the heads did not match the body. The old woman, owner of the house Bayajidda was staying in, informed the queen that her guest had slayed it, after which Daura summoned Bayajidda. Having presented the snake's head, proving to her that he was the one who had slain Sarki, he turned down the offer of half the town, instead requesting her hand in marriage. She married him out of gratitude for slaying the serpent. In this section, we'll be deep diving into relationship with Bayajidda, unraveling its complexities and uncovering valuable insights. Because it was against the custom of the people of Daura for their queens to marry, Daura made a compromise with Bayajidda and said she would only have sexual intercourse with him later. Because of this, she gave him a concubine named Bagwariya. According to the oral palace version of the legend, Daura gave him Bagwariya because she wanted to break her queenly vow to remain a virgin, but had to undergo rituals to do so. Bagwariya had a son fathered by Bayajidda and she named him Karbagari, or Karbagari, which means he snatched the town in Hausa. This worried Daura, and when she had a son of her own also fathered by Bayajidda, she named him Bawo, which means give it back. With that being said, let's now move on to two groups of descendants. Throughout his life, Bayajidda is said to have fathered 3 children with 3 different women. Bawo fathered 6 of his own sons, whose names were Daura, Gobir, Kano, Katsina, Rano, and Zazzau. Together with Biram, the son of Magaram, these 7 went on to rule the 7 legitimate Hausa states, the Hausa Bakwai. Some versions of the tale leave Bawo and Magaram out entirely, with Biram, Daura, Gobir, Kano, Katsina, Rano, and Zaria being the sons of Bayajidda and Daura. Karbagari's descendants, meanwhile, founded the 7 illegitimate states, the Banza Bakwai. The Hausa kingdom began as 7 states founded by the Bayajidda legend and the 6 sons of Bawo and himself, in addition to the hero's son Ibrahim of an earlier marriage. As we embark on the next leg of our journey, let's unpack the layers of social embeddedness of the legend and examine its core elements. The different figures of the Bayajidda narrative were embodied by precise officials of the former Daura kingdom. The king represented Bayajidda, the official queen mother Magajidda Daura, and the official royal sister Bagwariya. In this section, we'll be deep diving into reenactment during the Ganizam festival, unraveling its complexities and uncovering valuable insights. Formerly, the celebrations of the Mauled or Gani festival consisted in the reenactments of the major details of the legend: departure from Iraq, slaying of the snake in the well, and marriage between the hero and the queen. The royal sword and the knife are still believed to have been those ones used for the slaying of the snake and the cutting of its head. With the groundwork laid, let's now examine repercussions on other regional traditions and its connections to our previous discussions. The Bayajidda legend is widely known at the courts of the 7 Hausa kings, where it is considered to correspond to the oldest known history of Hausaland. As already observed by the traveller Heinrich Barth, the basic division between the 7 Hausa and the 7 Banza is used among the Some to distinguish between the northern Hausa and the southern Gurma side of the River Niger. Turning our focus to historical meaning, let's explore its key elements. There are a variety of views on the Bayajidda story, with differing opinions on the meaning and historicity of the tale. Some scholars suppose that Bayajidda is a historical person, the founder of the 7 Hausa states, and contemporary Hausa royals, especially those in Daura and Zaria, to trace their lineage to and draw their authority from him. See Kano Chronicle. By contrast, others claim that Bayajidda never existed. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore medieval history from a different angle. W. Kelvin. Al-Halam argues that Bayajidda represents a folk personification of the supporters of Abu Yazid, a 10th century Kharajite Berber rebel, whose followers fled southwards from North Africa after Yazid's defeat by and death at the hands of Fatimids. According to this theory, the Hausa states would have been founded by Kharajite refugees in the 10th century CE. Elizabeth Isiki, in her work A History of African Societies to 1870, suggests that Bayajidda's stay in Borno prior to arriving in Hausaland is perhaps a folk memory of origins on the Borno borderland, or a reflection of Borno political and cultural dominance. As we embark on the next leg of our journey, let's unpack the layers of symbolical history and examine its core elements. One view is that the story of the marriage of Bayajidda and Daura symbolizes the merger of Arab and Berber tribes in North and West Africa. Biblical anthropologist Alice Celsius Lindsley maintains that Bayajidda's closest biblical counterpart is Cain 1. Cain is said to have fled from his father, married a princess whom he met at a well, and was involved with metalworkers. Most of the heroes of Genesis met their wives at sacred wells or springs. Abraham married Keturah at the well of Sheba Beersheba. Isaac Yitzhak found a wife at a well in Arm. Moses encountered his wife at a well sacred to the Midianites and won her hand after he delivered the women and flocks from Egyptian raiders. In his 1989 book An Imperial Twilight, Gowan Bell suggests that the marriage of Bayajidda and Daura signals a change from a matriarchal to a patriarchal system. With the foundation laid, let's embark on a journey into in literature and media. Bayajidda's story inspired a comic book adaptation titled Bayajidda, an African legend adapted or written by Claude Opara and drawn by Ibrahim Yakubu under the An African Legend comic series. The comic was published in 2018 using the popular band Destiny's style. A French translation was later released the following year. Don't forget to check out my other videos for more valuable content.